Well, time to make myself a loser sandwich. What's going on, Canes fans? Yes, I'm still throwing up the U at the beginning of this video, but the time has come for me to do what needs to be done. No, this is not fun. I absolutely hate it. If I'm being upfront and honest with you guys, I figure why not? At least we tried chocolate syrup. It was still nasty. How about we go with some peanut butter this time? Right? This was, just so you know, for anybody who's new here, you know, maybe you've never been on the channel before, I had predicted 45-6. Boy, what was I smoking? Right? What? Yeah, no. 30-24. Now, hear me out. That score makes this game look like it was a lot closer than it actually was. This game was nowhere near 30-24. As far as I'm concerned, this game was 58-0. I saw really no fight, no effort from the players. The coaching staff had a horrible game plan for this, considering that we're coming off of a bye week. Remember, FIU came off of a bye week. They sure looked prepared, didn't they? A lot more prepared than we did. Now, we're going to dive into these specifics, right? We're going to talk stats. But right now, I'm a big fat loser, and I got to pay up. Now, I have people tell me all the time, Coop, you edited there. You cut that part out. Now, hear me out. You can believe that I eat this or not believe that I eat this. You can do whatever the heck you want to do. But I'm going to be upfront and honest. This is hard to do. Do I do it? Yes. You don't want to sit and watch me eat. This is going to take 10 or 15 minutes. I might even throw up while I'm eating it. You don't want to sit and watch me do that for 10 or 15 minutes. So the video is probably going to cut. It is what it is. No, I didn't throw up. For all the FIU fans who were hoping I did. Oh, this last piece, man. Here's what it is. Believe it or don't, I really don't care, to be honest with you. We're gonna finish this video in a place that makes a little more sense, right? Kind of just sums up the night for us. Now, I'm gonna have a lot of Miami fans give me hate for this. They're gonna say, Coop, you're the positive one. You're the optimistic one. You know, why would you do something like this? Hear me out. Losing to a conference USA team is unacceptable. My opinion, all right, and we're going to get to stats, don't worry. My opinion, losing to a conference USA team is unacceptable regardless of any circumstances. So, yeah, it's Manny Diaz's first year as a head coach. He's never been a head coach before. We've got new staff. We've got all these new systems in place. You still do not lose to FIU. You know, and people are going to tell me, but Coop, you know, we lost to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's not a good football team. At least Georgia Tech is an ACC team. So before we talk stats, we're going to go over negatives, and I'm going to see if I can scrounge up some positives. One thing I do want to address is the flopping. Now, FIU fans, you can argue this with me to the grave until you're blue in the face. But the flopping in this game was unacceptable. That was absolutely pathetic. There were 3 or 4 times that FIU players flopped in this game. And they're going to tell me, but Coop, they were cramping and it was hot. There's a difference. You can tell. Don't tell me you can't tell the difference between when a player is flopping and when they actually have a cramp. It happened 3 or 4 times in this game. And there needs to be some type of penalty for this. I'm talking a flopping penalty, 15 yards. Same as an unsportsmanlike conduct. And it's up to the referee's judgment, up in the booth, whatever you want to do, on if it was a flop or not. Because when you're cramping, you don't walk around, look to the sidelines, grab your leg, slowly set yourself down, call for the trainers to come over, lay there for 5 seconds, they pat you on the chest, and you get up and walk to the sideline. And it just so happens that it happens every single time Miami gets a chunk yardage play and decides to start maybe going up tempo. Really? But I'm not one to make excuses. So FIU, you did beat us in this game. You beat us offensively, defensively. The flopping is not the reason we lost the game. You outplayed us in pretty much every aspect of the game. So let's dive in. Let's talk about actual stats for this game. One of the big stories for this is going to be the fact that Jaron Williams threw 3 interceptions in this game. You know, people started thinking, oh man, like I'm getting Virginia Tech vibes from this. Now, I will say, I'm not making excuses for Jaron Williams. It's going to sound like I am, but the first 2 interceptions, in my opinion, really weren't on Jaron Williams. Because that first interception on our first offensive possession, by the way, the wide receiver stopped running his route, right? The second one hit the wide receiver in the face. Guess what? You got to put your hands there and catch it. Now, the third one was on Jaron Williams, 100%. Either way, his fault or not, 3 interceptions is unacceptable. So Jaron Williams' stats on the day were 19 of 36, 249 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Another big takeaway from this game, third down efficiency. You want to guess what Miami's was? 1 of 10. FIU was 6 of 14. You won't win a football game with that type of third down efficiency. It won't happen. 4th downs, we did go for it a couple of times. 3 of 5. I don't really have a comment on that. I don't really know what to say. We shouldn't be in those situations that often, especially in a game against FIU. So total yards for this game, this it sounds crazy. Miami 413, FIU 297. Of the 413 yards for Miami, 249 was passing, 164 was rushing. For FIU, of their 297, 160 was passing, and 137 was rushing. Penalties. FIU 14 for 144 yards. Miami 6 penalties for 65 yards. FIU 0 turnovers. So let's talk. Miami fans, I'm asking you, who's to blame? Who is everyone pointing the finger at? Because it's going to be a different story for everybody, right? For me, if I have to point fingers at somebody, because people are going to ask me in the comment section, well, who do you think, Coop? Whose fault is it? It's everyone's fault. Everybody. We were coming off of a bye week again. FIU was as well. But look how much more prepared FIU looked for this game. Their coaching staff had a plan together, and they executed. Miami, we looked really, really unprepared for this game. So it's on the coaching staff for not having them prepared. Again, red zone play calling, in my opinion, was terrible. It's also on the players. I feel like the majority of them had no fight, no passion, no heart in this game. It's almost like we wanted FIU to just lay down and give us the victory. No opponent is going to do that, regardless of the level of competition that you're playing. Nobody's just going to lay down and give you the victory. You're going to have to fight for it. So I blame everybody. But then the question is where do we go from here? The thing that frustrates me the most is the fact that we're not consistent. right? At the beginning of the season, when all of this stuff was new to us, this new offense and all these new things going on, new faces and whatnot, we were able to hang with Florida. But then we come out, and later on down the road, we barely beat Central Michigan. But then guess what? We lose to Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech. But then we beat number 20 ranked Virginia at the time, and then we put up 52 points on Louisville, and now we lose to FIU. There is zero consistency there at all. None. We're up, then we're down. Then we're up, then we're down. And I'm going to man up and say I really thought that the Miami defense was going to feast on FIU. I was expecting 3 or 4 sacks out of Rousseau alone in this game. We couldn't get to him. We could barely lay hands on Morgan even when we brought the whole squad. He ended up having a pretty decent game. 16 of 30, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a big dude who is not very mobile. But their offensive line held up really well. We did not get much pressure on him in this game. And their run game was also pretty good. Jones had 16 carries for 112 yards and a touchdown. They really leaned on that run game late in the game. And every time we had an opportunity where we were like, come on, all right, Canes fans, we can do this. We got this. We can come back. They would get another third down conversion. And man, did our O-line get dominated tonight. Jaron Williams was pressured throughout the entire game. It forced a lot of rush throws. He was sacked several times. There were many times that he had to scramble to try to pick up some yards. Our offensive line got dominated by a Conference USA defensive line. Really let that sink in for a minute. And that's where I talk about that consistency and also improvement. I need to see improvement week after week, not people regressing and getting worse. If I'm trying to look for positives, because there are always a couple of small positives you can pull from every game, regardless of what happened, final score. It was good to see Mallory get some catches. He had 4 catches for 71 yards. Obviously, we're missing Brevin Jordan. Mallory is typically used more as a blocking tight end, but it was good to see him get a couple of big catches in the game. We did find out that Cameron Harris can shoulder the load and take over for DJ Dallas if needed. DJ Dallas went out in the game with an arm injury, something with his arm or with his elbow. It looked pretty nasty during the game, but hopefully he'll be okay. And prayers up for that man because he leaves it all on the field every game. He's an absolute beast. So hopefully he'll be back soon. But Cameron Harris can take over, and he's a pretty good back. He's good about picking up yards after contact, and he keeps his legs moving. In this game, he did have 11 carries for 86 yards and 1 touchdown. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think needs to happen to get some consistency out of this football team, whatever it may be, even if we don't agree. Do I want Manny Diaz fired? Still no. And I know that a lot of Canes fans are going to be upset with me for that, but it's right here, right? We've seen what we're capable of, but what needs to happen, whether it be coaching changes, whether it be scheme changes, whether it be putting different players in, whether it be, I don't know. I'm asking you guys. We'll discuss it later next week as well. But leave it down below no matter what it is. It doesn't matter. I'm going to leave every comment. I'm not going to delete it as long as nobody's spamming. So let me know what you think. We all just want Miami to win football games. And man, this one really frustrates me. I think this might be the most frustrating loss for me this season because, again, it's unacceptable under any and all circumstances. Doesn't matter. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know this has been another ranting and venting one. I really thought these were behind us, but unfortunately it looks like it's not. We got to get right back to work, and we got to face Duke next week, who I'm assuming is better than FIU, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So remember though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I got to say, even after getting our booty spanked by FIU, it's still always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out.